Patrick,
Good.
I feel like this was a long time coming, man. It was a blast, dude. Catching up with you at Maryland Death Fest, man. Getting to hang out, see you guys fucking destroy, and it was such a blast, man. That was probably seeing you guys at Maryland Death Fest was probably one of the best to me personally. You guys were one of the best shows there, man. Like that was total insanity, dude. And for you guys to be able to have your sound just come through so clear, like it just sounded so crisp, man. Like in that live setting. It was awesome. The energy
Ah,
was the energy was electric, dude. Like I think I ran into you afterwards and I was like, dude, you guys were kicking ass.
yeah, well, thank you. Thank you, man. Yeah, we have, for us, the show was really good as well. You never know. And, but it was good. And yeah, as far as the sound, we always try the sound as ourselves, a little bit depending on the engineer, but we are such a good band, so it's easy for the live engineer. Just kidding. No, no.
It's true.
No, but yeah, but it was Maryland Death Fest was just awesome, and yeah, it was really nice meeting you in person. And I think we agreed at the fest that we should do this interview, and now
Yeah.
3 months later, almost, it's finally happening. So it's cool, man.
I yeah, it's been I was really looking forward to it, man. So being able to work it out has been great. Also, man, new album is out. And I always I love going through after like an album is released and after it's been out for a few weeks, I like to go through and look at all like what people are saying about it. And you guys put out probably one of the best death metal albums of the year, dude.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's so far the reviews and the feedback has have been amazing. You never know what's going to happen. And we were very excited about the material. But then again, it all depends on how it's perceived by the audience. So, we cannot complain, actually. So, very happy about that.
Yeah, man. So now that the album's out, how how do you feel now that like life can kind of slow down a little bit? Because recording an album and releasing it is insanity.
Yeah, especially, with us having full-time jobs and families and whatever. So for us, it's still a hobby, but we don't approach it like a hobby. So it's, writing the music. Um, it takes time and it's never enough. It's never okay. And if I listen to the album now, I already can hear some stuff that, oh, we should have done it different, or but that's the part of being a musician, of course. Uh, but it's nice to have a couple of weeks with nothing in our schedule. And on the other side, I just can't wait to go out again. No, we did some really cool shows after the release, but some way or another, we don't have anything planned for the rest of the year at the moment, which is also nice. Like I said, it's nice to have off time. It allows me to write new music already. So, the feedback of the last album inspired me to continue. So we're not done yet.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no, we're looking for shows actually. Yeah, we have some shows lined up, so it's all going to be good. But I want to bring the new material a little bit more to the people.
Yeah. What was one of like your favorite memories of the touring this year, or some of the shows you went to? Do you got one?
Um, I think there are a couple, of course. We're in a luxury position. We almost can choose what we do and we do not want to do. And I think Maryland Death Fest was one of the highlights. Especially the feedback because it was how many years ago? 8 years or something like that we played in the US. So you never know.
Yeah.
And then we did the shows with Bloodbath and Primordial and Argoth after that. It's like 4 shows with them. And I think Los Angeles was, you know, that was also just awesome. Sold out show and everybody was so into it. So it was that was nice. And then we did Brutal Assault in the Czech
Oh,
Republic, and we were pretty early on the bill. And also that was like I don't know how many years ago that we played there, but also that was awesome. It was packed and everybody enjoyed it. We kind of sucked, but the people didn't notice. So, but the memories were awesome about that.
yeah. Wait, why did you feel like you sucked? What happened?
You know, Sometimes you play excellent shows and sometimes it's a struggle. And this one was kind of a struggle. Our drummer had some problems with his bass drum pedals, and you always want to be on top of your game, and
Yeah.
sometimes a bit less. But the feedback from the show was awesome. So
That was the one thing, man, that was super cool seeing you guys at Maryland Death Fest was you're standing there, right? And you guys are getting it going. And I'm looking there because I love looking around and seeing the feedback of all the people as well. So then you just start seeing everybody slowly get the head banging going and just feeling the energy because that's the one thing about you guys that I really just hyped me up was the energy. You guys weren't just like kind of standing there like, okay, like we're just playing really heavy music. Like you guys were into it. The you guys were pouring into us, which for me that kind of hypes me up as well, like I get into it, seeing you into it. So I can only imagine what it was like at those other shows because like I told you, man, Maryland Death Fest was a fucking blast. Like you guys destroyed. Um what when you're when you take a break or like when you get done like with an album and whatever, what do you what do you listen to like on your own free time? Do you listen to a lot of death metal on your own free time or
yeah, actually I do. I
uh-huh.
think well, me and Dennis, our singer, he's also a little bit living in the past, music wise, and I'm a little bit the same. I
Hmm.
try to discover new bands, and I'm so particular in what I like. Uh, so if a new band doesn't give me that what I want, I just fall back on the old classics maybe. And but still, there are still some bands that I enjoy. But for some reason, the songwriting skills back in the day were, for me, were
Yeah.
better. So that's why I listen to, yeah, all the, D-side, Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Those are the classics. And but I liked, because when we started was I like to call it maybe the second or the third wave of death metal. You had the US brutal death metal wave. So bands like Deeds of Flesh and Disgorge are always on my playlist. And then I do like the bands that try to imitate them a little bit that are coming out now. I don't like the bands that imitate, the bands like Incantation and stuff like that. It's cool to see young kids doing it, but then I rather listen to Incantation or something. But I
Yeah.
listen to death metal, and sometimes I listen to even some deathcore if it's really brutal, and hardcore I like when it's aggressive and the songs are good. But death metal is my one big love.
I've noticed, man, it because we're in our you're in your 30s, right?
I wish. I'm turning 47, and
What? Oh my God, no way, dude. So it's funny, man. I'm 37 and I too kind of cling to more traditional death metal. I like a lot of melodic death metal and black metal and everything. And I notice that as like the younger generation, they're trying to reinvent the sound. That's why I like the emergence of deathcore and everything. And it's funny. I've I'll look at some comments on like videos or whatever, and people will say like, metal is dead, or and I just find that hard to believe that metal is dead.
I think it's more popular than ever, but it's difficult. There's like there seems to be like a gap between the old school bands and all the new school bands. Because if you listen to the new school bands like Sangue Sugarbug or something like that,
Yeah.
they are brutal as hell. But they do sound like it's something that could have been released 15 years ago. And sometimes they attract like a younger audience, but I'm not sure if that younger audience also goes to bands like, Cannibal Corpse or D-Side. But like a band like Cannibal Corpse, they are more popular than ever, man. They are as for metal, we are getting the new headliners. It's been going on for a couple of years now, whether you like it or not. It's the festival headliners are bands like Gojira and whatever. And for me, that's still a small band, but it isn't, of course.
Yeah.
Um, so I think we, as bands like us, we need to find a way to get those young kids that are going to the new wave of death metal bands or extreme bands. Um, and that's kind of tough, but it is cool to see that you have all these young bands and they're getting an audience. They're getting that it's so metal is still alive and well, but it is
Yeah.
tough. It's tough for there's so many bands and some bands are struggling. We are lucky that for us it's just something we do on the side, and so we don't have to live for it. So if something doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And but it's I think there are exciting times, especially also in death metal. We get so many death metal released this year. So I'm
Mm.
very it's still people call our new album like one of the best death metal releases in a year when there are so many death metal releases. So that's just awesome.
Yeah, man, it really is. I was listening to it on the way to work the other day, and I couldn't help. When you're listening to something and you could feel it on your face, you could just feel you're kind of like, "Oh, that's brutal." I felt that on my face the whole way to work. Just some of the things that you guys did on that album, man, was just so good. So I agree, man. I agree. And again, too, congratulations on putting out just a fucking brutal album. But it's cool that you're talking about the younger generation that they seem to be experimenting with a lot of stuff, right? Like, especially like in deathcore or whatever. You got a lot of people doing a lot more different variations with their vocals. They're doing a lot of, and I think like what you said, if we can bridge that gap of the older generation being like, wow, this music inspired this new wave of metal, but then also I think the younger crowd they want to dig into that authentic sound. They want to know where everything came from and just kind of bridging that gap of getting rid of the what do they call it? Boomer metal. If we if we don't like a deathcore band, we're like, all right, boomer, you know what I mean?
Uh, but it surprised me that there are like deathcore bands that I really like, and but the funny thing, it's funny. I don't know if it's funny or not, but it amazes me that deathcore is it's like brutal death metal meets hardcore, but also meets black metal because they have like all the symphonies. Of course, like Lorna Shore is maybe the most obvious one, but all those bands they have symphonies or synthesizers or whatever you want to call it. It's
Mhm.
of course it's not played live, so we can discuss about that if that's okay or not. But at least they are. It's brutal, but they're incorporating the atmosphere that like black metal had or something.
Mhm.
And that's funny to see, and it's funny to see that it actually works.
Yeah.
And I think that's also one of the reasons they are popular because it's just not only brutal, but it also creates an atmosphere. And I can imagine why it's attracting a lot of young kids. And then the vocals are just insane. Yeah, I don't really like it. I like the death metal vocals. I when we play Brutal Assault, I was standing on the side of the stage watching D side, and I was so amazed by the power of the voice of Glenn Benton.
Hmm.
There's no deathcore band that's gonna top that. So, but I do like the fact that a lot of those deathcore vocalists are, you know, artists themselves. The way they use their vocals. Uh, then death metal bands are a little bit, you know, traditional. They
Yeah.
use like a high voice and maybe low voice, or
Hmm.
but those guys can do almost everything with their voice.
Oh yeah, you now it blows me away when somebody sounds like a fucking goblin or a pig or something. And I'm just like, but even even with there's this one band that's really getting kind of crazy with their vocals. I don't know if you've ever listened to Disembodied Tyrant.
No.
Yeah, they used a lot of like orchestra,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it fits really well, man, and capturing that brutality with these, because I think the use you were talking about, like the use of like the symphonies, those are like very moving sounds, that music. Like when I hear a really beautiful classical piece or something, I get moved. It's cold chills. It's so incorporating that in metal is kind of smart,
Yeah.
because you're like punching them in the face, but then you're like, oh, do you feel good? Like,
Yeah.
dude, how did severe torture come about?
Oh. Uh, well, we were just young kids that loved metal. We started out like at least me and Thijs, the guitarist. When we started out playing together, it was also Seth was also still in the band, and Seth and Thijs are nephews, so they knew each other already. And yeah, we all happened to like bands like Metallica and Iron Maiden the same time. And we were at school together, and so we just started, experimenting with playing instruments. And Seth was already the drummer. Um, so it was good to have him in the band because he was a better musician than we were. And so we just started playing cover songs. Like I think almost everybody starts that way.
Yeah.
And our music taste evolved at the same tempo. So we just listened to Metallica and Iron Maiden, and of course, then as a young kid, you want extremer and extremer. So within no time, we were listening to Cannibal Corpse and D Side, and and all those bands. Um, so we started covering that bands like Grave and Hypocrisy. Also, yeah, it's raining like hell here at the moment, so maybe you hear it in the background. Uh, and then we found bands like Deeds of Flesh or whatever, and that was also the time that we were ready to write new tunes, our own tunes.
Yeah.
And I think if you listen really well, you can hear that in the first songs that we started writing. I can hear some Deeds of Flesh and Cryptopsy and D-side Cannibal Corpse influence in there.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we great timing, I think, and also very nice to have the same ambition together, because it's not evident that you are in a band together for such a long time with the same people that are in it the same way. So I think it's almost kind of magic or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is the same reason why we are still with a lot of the same guys for so many years. Finding the right people is important, and having the same ambitions and making sure that everybody is on the same line. So
Hmm.
don't get frustrations. Of course, we have frustrations,
For
but
sure.
we started writing our own music. Uh, it turned out pretty well.
Hmm.
That's also not evident, of course.
Yeah.
People were picking it up, and people were picking up how fanatic we were, and that's why we, even as old farts, we still pour our energy on stage, because that's the way we want to see bands play. And of course, maybe we're not so full of energy anymore when we were younger, but I think we can still manage to hold our own on stage compared to other bands. And yeah, and from there it just took off. You know, we released our demo. It did take us a while to find a record deal, to be honest. And I think our do-it-yourself state of mind kind of helped in the end. And we just played our asses off, and we are still, you know, uh, we build our brand when we're young, and we still, have our efforts or benefits of that. Let me say, like, So
Yeah.
it's something to be proud of. Something we don't take for granted. Although we could have, we're older now. We could have done more. We're not touring anymore. But it's also being a wise old guy, not touring anymore. It allows us to have a normal life, have a normal living, and still enjoy doing the band.
You look back and you reflect on all the years. How do you feel this path you chose of creating music? How do you feel it's affected you as a man?
Uh, well,
It's deep.
it's deep, and it is. It's such a big part of my life. It is who I am. It is
Yeah.
the choices for being in a band like this, and also Centurion back in the day. Make me quit school, made me get shitty jobs in one of my early days just to be able to tour, touring a lot. Did if yeah, I don't know if you want to call it like that. Did set me back in creating your life as people expect you to do,
Hmm.
but it also created my circle of friends. Also, thanks to the music, I met my wife, not when I was in severe torture. I was in severe torture, but not because of severe torture, but just being, visiting shows and whatever. So I think it affected me on every aspect in my life. And in the end, I did kind of pick up on my career or whatever you want to call it. You know, in this society, you have to do your part. And one of the part is, getting a job or making money to afford living. So I'm glad I did catch up on that, and that also allows me to still do this band, And so for me, I'm still Patrick from Severe Torture, and there is also a different Patrick, but it's without this band, I would probably be a complete different person,
Mm.
possibly. You never know. You never know what turns life take, but. And it also it is very comfortable, but to associate myself with this, But it's like the perfect fit, the perfect jacket for me to wear in life. So I think I chose well.
Yeah. I th I think, man, being able to follow your heart, your intuition, because we do live in a world where everybody everybody wants to tell us how to live, how to think, what to feel, what to believe. And when you decide to kind of forge your own path and you're like, no, I'm gonna do this because there is a sense of purpose, there's a sense of connection, there's a sense of feeling. I think you win. When people like you look back and there's happiness. You have you have all these years of amazing memories. You have, your whole life, it brought you your marriage, it brought you great friends and all these things. And to some people, they're gonna be like, dude, you quit school for this? You did. And it's just like, man, at the end of the fucking day, I'm happy. I'm glad with the path I chose. And I think, only you know that.
it is, when I quit school, of course my parents were shocked.
Yeah. What the fuck,
And
Patrick?
you know, I did have this girlfriend before I met my wife, and she was like, yeah, you are so stupid that you quit school. And then years later, I met her again, and she said, you were so fucking right to choosing your own path and at least try and get to see where, where you're going. So if I talk to people now, they all are, even people that are not into music, they are so not jealous, but so like, all right, you dare to choose, and you did some amazing stuff, and yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. So I'm not trying to tell to people just give up your normal life and chase your dreams.
For sure.
Be smart about it. So calculate your risks, but um, at least try it or make sure you can try it in a safe way. Um, yeah, and paid off eventually. It could have turned completely, badly, but it paid off, in maintaining the band, growing the band, and still be able to do it 20, 25 years, maybe. Yeah, 25 years
Yeah.
afterwards. So it's not given, but be smart about it. There are people that are dive in completely and they burn out and they get frustrated. It takes time as well, and sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes it takes a little bit more effort, but you never know. And so yeah, I'm glad I made that choice, but it wasn't, I wasn't sure about it. And also, of course, that we came to a point after the third record that we also noticed, okay, this band is not going to get bigger than it was at that time,
Mm.
and that was a tough period because we were growing every year, every record, and then sometimes you just have to admit to yourself, okay, we have our market, but that market is not gonna give us a roof over our head. So that was a tough period actually. Yeah. But at least looking back, I'm still sure made the right choice when I was younger.
Yeah.
I don't have any regrets. So that's important.
Yeah. And I think people, I, I think what people struggle with when they look at somebody like you who you forged your own path, you followed, you didn't really listen, you listened to what you felt. There is a sense of like, you know, they can kind of get stuck thinking, well, we gotta stay in this hamster wheel of life and just, but then they get to 40 years old and they go, dude, I don't have any memories. I don't have, it's been literally, 9 to 5. I had dreams, I had passions, but I didn't do anything with them. I didn't, there is a risk, like what you said, but being smart about it and little by little and not just jumping off into the deep end. Yeah, I get that, man. And especially as I get a little bit older, I think about, my viewpoints on life when I was in my 20s compared to now. I'm like, man, life really does come down to how you grow as a person. You got to like care about yourself and grow, who you surround yourself with, and the memories you make. Like when I'm gonna leave this place, all I'm gonna have is the memories I made and the good times that I had. And I don't know, man. I think that's cool, dude, because I think that's admirable. And if you're smart, I think anybody who listens to this, there's a reason why we have dreams. There's a reason why we have passions. You know, maybe not dive in all the way, but little by little, just go a little bit deeper, deeper, deeper. You never know what will happen. You never know.
It's yeah, like I said, it can be very rewarding to take the risk, and yeah, also like I said, we were lucky. So maybe we created that luck ourselves, but we were lucky. It was just yeah, we found the right people. We made the smart choices. I think we made the best of our capabilities that we had
Yeah.
back in the day. Because sometimes I hear debut albums from bands. I think, oh man, compared to that, we sucked ass. But but it's all cool, and but it's important. Yeah, if but it can be frustrating if you have like passion, but you're not able to reach it.
Mm.
And luckily, I only had that after I gained some of the yeah, reached some of the goals that I had. So it's not like a complete disaster. Uh, and I'm just, it's been an awesome ride so far with the band and my buddies, of course. And I still want to do it
Yeah.
for at least uh, I don't know how many years, but I'm
Dude, when you
writing.
s- when you said you're 40, dude, I was like, no way. I thought you were like right around my age.
No, we were all fucking old dudes, man. We were. Dennis is. Oh no, Damien is the youngest one at the moment, and he is. Yeah, forgive me, but I think he's 35, 36, 37. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
And but Marvin is already 50, and Thijs and me are the same age, 47. Uh,
Wow. Fuck.
uh,
I would not have known, dude. You guys, I would not have known.
listening to death metal keeps you young, at
It
least if you.
does, man.
Now we are
The fountain of youth.
yeah, beer is the fountain of youth. When we were young, at least when I was young, I'm a little bit, wiser now, but like creating memories when we were young, uh, we did so many cool stuff. Also, just visiting the shows and going to friends and drinking beer and whatever. I'm a
Yeah,
little bit
dude.
more now, but it's also important. So if it's not playing in a band, if your passion is going to shows, then follow that passion. That's a little bit easier to combine with your day job. Uh, but it's important, and every small things they count. Right now, when I was younger, I had like the fear of missing out. If there was a death metal show somewhere in the Netherlands, I needed to go. Didn't matter how I went, but now I'm just like, okay. I had a nice week at work. I got my own place, and me and my wife just take it easy, and I'm happy with that. So it, just do what makes you happy,
Yeah.
and of course you have to do your civil duties. Let's
Yeah.
call it that one. But make sure that you, yeah, try to enjoy the also the little things, and that's I'm happy that I'm capable of doing that because being 47 and being drunk as hell out of your mind still at metal shows, that will be a little bit pathetic. But enjoying it at my age, that's still cool.
Yeah, dude. Dude, we'll end it with this one, but I wanted to ask you with this question. It's kind of cheesy, but I think I like hearing people's perspectives. What do you think the world would be like, man, if we didn't have music?
It would be shit. Uh, it brings so much uh, joy to in every style of music.
Mhm.
You see so many people enjoying music. It gives them like a way to express their emotions, or it brings up emotions with people, even with death metal. And most of the times,
Mhm.
like, oh, this is nice. But
Yeah,
it so I think the world would be gray as hell. I can imagine a world without music. It would be senseless. Like, I don't know,
yeah,
man. I can't imagine just that it would be silent. Imagine working without music in the background.
yeah,
Just sitting at home, or watching movies without music. It would
Oh,
just
be
completely
shit.
suck. Yeah. So it's maybe we take it for granted, but without music, I think the world would be a much, much lesser place to live in.
Yeah, damn. I agree, man. I can't imagine not I heard dude, I heard a song, I'll share this with you. I heard a song last night, man. And I love when if you're like in a certain part of life where like maybe you're doing some soul searching or you're kind of having some kind of internal battle or something going on and out of nowhere a song comes and you hear those lyrics, man, and it's about what you're feeling and it just comes out of nowhere and it just slaps you, man. I had something like that happen last night, dude. It was so funny. I was talking to a good friend of mine about some things going on in my life and it kind of expressing some things, and I just left it at that. I come home and I this song pops up and I'm listening to it and I go, "What the fuck, dude? Like,
But it's also
ow."
the beauty about music, and especially lyrics, of course, and then you can discuss the death metal lyrics. But
Yeah.
for everybody interprets the lyrics according to their references, and it also counts for the music, and that's also the beauty about music. And so imagine not having that. It's
I'd die, dude. I would
yeah,
die.
and also, we wouldn't be talking right now if it wasn't for
Yeah.
music. I think that's also the one of the most amazing parts, especially about metal. It's yeah, it connects people all over the world. Especially as musicians, we are very lucky enough to experience all the different metal fans and metal cultures. But that's also the beauty about for music. It connects people, and even though I hate people, that's it's like it's crazy, you know. The title of our second album wasn't for nothing, Misanthropic Carnage,
Yeah.
just suck. But also, I love people, so it's
Yeah.
it's kind
Yeah.
of crazy like
What's the
that.
thing? You love the people you love and you hate the people you hate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, man, I wanted to say something to you real quick. I think we can well, whatever. We'll add this on. Patrick, man, this was awesome, dude, because even being able to connect with you at Death Fest and just talk life a little bit and it was awesome, man. And I like what you said, these little moments like this where, just by chance of connecting and whatever, you're able to, just be able to talk and just have a good time and talk life and talk music. So I don't take this for granted, man. I really do appreciate your time and you just being able to hang out and talk with me.
yeah, that was the goal. When we were at Maryland Death Fest, was just talk. It doesn't have to be about new album or whatever, but it's always nice to talk with like-minded people, or at least people that are into death metal or metal in general. And that's why I like to do these interviews. When I was younger, I hated these kind of interviews.
Yeah.
Record, I've been doing them a lot, and I like talking to people about what we do, but what people do or what people think about metal or severe torture or whatever. So it's nice. So it was really cool talking to you, and
Oh yeah.
you can do it again, especially
Yeah,
when
dude.
a new record is coming out. Oh man, it will take at least 2, 3 years. So, but